Hey guys, so it's time for another Once Upon a Time review, and we're getting really close to the season finale, and I'm getting a little worried about my people in Storybrooke that are good. I'm getting really concerned, because I feel like the closer we get to the finale, the more evil that Regina becomes. And yeah, I was really interested earlier in the season when they were doing this whole kind of like, can Regina be good? Can she change type of thing? It just feels like at this point she has completely abandoned the good ship Lollipop, and that she is on Team Evil, like, all the way. At the end of the last episode, we saw Regina find the bean field, and basically what we discover in this episode is that she burns it. She burns down the bean field after she takes some of the beans for herself. And yeah, she basically destroys everyone else's chance to go back to the Enchanted Forest. So at the beginning of the episode, we see Regina go to Henry and kind of spill the beans, tell him like, look, Emma, Mary Margaret, David, they're keeping things from you. This is what they're planning to do, but I'm not gonna let it happen. Regina also reveals the fact that she kind of built in a failsafe, like into the spell and into Storybrooke. So when she leaves, she can activate this failsafe and she can basically destroy the town. But Henry's question, of course, is what's going to happen to everybody else? Like, are they going to get to come back to the Enchanted Forest with us? And Regina, of course, because she's evil, reveals to him that no, basically once I kind of kick the failsafe into gear, everyone's gonna die that's here in Storybrooke. So, I don't know how she even thought that he was gonna say yes to that. Of course, Henry is appalled and is just like, I'm not gonna let you do this. And so Regina uses a spell on him to make him forget. Now, we did have a flashback in this episode to the Enchanted Forest, and I must say, like, the last couple of ones that we've had have been kind of like, whatever. But I really enjoyed this one. So we see Regina in all her, like, evil queen splendor, and, like, boy, aren't her clothes, like, in the Enchanted Forest, like, her outfits are always, like, so awesome. So she's got this hat on with this big feather, and she just looks really kick-ass. So she's on the hunt for Snow White, right? And she finds this little town where Snow White had been hiding out. She gathers all the, like, town residents, and she's, like, questioning them, but none of them will give her any information about Snow. And so Regina's mad, and so she basically decides to kill everyone in this little town. Later, we see her back at the castle. Rumpelstiltskin shows up, one thing leads to another, and before you know it, he's doing a spell on her to change her form. So Regina's kind of disguised as this peasant. She goes out. Her goal really is to try to find Snow White. She figures because she doesn't look like herself, she can get really close to her and she can kill her. There was this really cool moment too where Rumpelstiltskin tells her, like, be careful. Like, basically, like, if you go out disguised as someone else, you might hear things about yourself that you don't want to hear from, you know, your subjects. And sure enough, when she gets out there, she realizes that people hate the evil queen and they love Snow White. And of course, this drives Regina crazy. So crazy that she almost gets killed because she keeps telling people she's the evil queen, but no one believes her. In the end, Snow White saves her and, you know, kind of nurses her back to health, because Regina's gonna get her head, like, chopped off because she's stupid. And while she's doing that, you know, she's talking to her, she's telling her stories, and eventually they get on the topic of the evil queen and how Snow feels about her, and it was just really interesting, even though the whole setup is kind of cliche type of thing, but I just feel like they did such a good job of it. I loved Regina kind of responding to the things that Snow had to say, and again, you know, there's always this moment with Regina where you think she's right on the edge of doing the right thing, and then she does something stupid. So they get to this point where, you know, Snow is kind of like, there's good in her, I know that, and I want a second chance with her, and Regina's like on the edge of kind of taking that, when all of a sudden the two of them kind of stumble upon all of these dead bodies, and it turns out that it's this town of people that Regina had killed earlier in the episode, and Snow is just devastated, and it's then that she kind of decides maybe there is no turning back for Regina, you know, because she knows instantly Regina did this, the evil queen did this. Back in Storybrooke, Emma's really becoming suspicious of Tamara. Thankfully, somebody is becoming suspicious of this woman. Earlier in the episode, we see Greg and Tamara with Hook, and they basically kind of send him off to kind of hatch this scheme that they've got going. They want to kind of trap Regina, and so they send Hook to kind of play his part. But initially, you know, when Hook goes to see Regina, it looks like he's betraying them, you know, like he basically tells Regina everything and tells her that they're plotting against her, and so Regina kind of lets Hook tag along with her. She's already kind of like in failsafe mode, so we get that she's working towards kind of destroying Storybrooke, but it turns out that she's hidden the failsafe, which you know, would be smart. So she and Hook kind of get in the elevator. They're going down beneath the library into the caverns. While they're going as well, right, there's this moment where she realizes that he's wearing like a cuff or a bracelet that belonged to her mother, and I guess Cora had given it to Hook, and so Regina kind of demands that he give it back to her because it was her mother's and she wants it, and so he does. And at the time I didn't think anything of it, other than the fact that Regina was kind of being a bully about it. But once they get down into the cavern, things instantly change. You know, Regina shows her true colors. She's not really teaming up with Hook, but once again, he is getting bested and double-crossed. Turns out that Maleficent is there. I was very excited about that. And she's there to really kind of protect the failsafe. So Regina pushes Hook down into this like cavern where Maleficent is at, and he fights with her while Regina goes to get the failsafe. She gets it and rides the elevator back upstairs thinking that's the end of Captain Hook, but who should be waiting for her upstairs but him? And he's not alone. With him are Greg and Tamara. So Regina is kind of taken aback a little when she realizes that she was kind of double-crossed by Hook. But she's Regina, the evil queen, so she's getting ready to, like, you know, strike up some magic when all of a sudden she realizes that she can't. So it turns out that the bracelet, the, like, cuff that Regina took from Hook, Greg and Tamara did something to that so that she can't do magic. And she can't take it off. So, like, of course she was trying to take it off so she could, like, burn them to a crisp, but she couldn't. And then they grab her. And you're not really sure where they're going to take her or really kind of what their master plan is. I mean, like, I do think that Greg is there for his dad, but I also think there's more to that plan than we realize. Back in the Enchanted Forest, right, with Regina and Snow and the body switching and all that fun stuff, in the end, you know, when Regina gets back to the castle and Rumpelstiltskin turns her back to herself, kind of the experience of being out and realizing how much the people hate her really kind of changes Regina, and not in a good way. So basically she goes from being the queen to deciding, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and be the evil queen. If that's what people think I am, if people hate me that much, I'm just gonna go ahead and own it, basically, and that's what she decides to do. Also in this episode, you know, Emma has become suspicious of Tamara, you know, like, she thinks that it's possible that she's the she that August was talking about before he got changed back into a little boy. And so she starts to do a little snooping. Eventually Henry figures out what she's doing, and he's all excited, right? For a few reasons. One, because he's kind of like, it's you and me undercover again, and I really kind of like that. And it was really funny because he named it like Operation Praying Mantis, which I thought was kind of entertaining. And then I think he's also excited because I think he thinks if Tamara is evil, then you and Dad will get back together again. They do a little snooping, and they don't really find anything. Neil actually catches them snooping in their, like, hotel room, and Emma kind of really comes clean with him and is like, look, I think there's something up here. But you get that Emma's not giving up on that, and she really still feels like there's something up with Tamara. Which, of course, we know that there is. So there are 2 more episodes before the season finale, and this episode definitely felt like, you know, they were putting the pieces in place, you know, like to kind of set the scene for us for what's to come. And I really think we're going somewhere, you know, I really kind of have that feeling that we're not staying in Storybrooke, that at some point we will be leaving and going off somewhere, and I really don't think they're going to be headed back to the Enchanted Forest, so I'm kind of excited about the possibility of someplace new. Thanks for watching, guys. If you want to check out last week's review of Once Upon a Time, go ahead and click the video link here. Don't forget to subscribe, to like, to comment, and tell me what you thought about this episode, and I will see you guys again soon. Bye!